If you really want to unlock the stories hidden in your data, there's one concept you've absolutely got to master: SQL joins. So let's break them down. First, we're going to tackle why our data is scattered all over the place to begin with. Then we'll meet the main joins that bring it all back together, learn a really clever trick for finding what's missing, and see why choosing the right join is key to making your queries way faster and smarter. All right, so first up, let's talk about the core problem that every single data analyst runs into: scattered data. I mean, if you've ever looked at a database, you've probably asked yourself this exact question, right? Why isn't everything we need just sitting in one giant, easy-to-read spreadsheet? Well, the simple answer is to avoid a total mess of duplicated information. This clean system is called a relational database. So for example, in this schema, you've got separate tables for agents, for cases, for time cards. You store an agent's name once instead of typing it in every single time they file a time card. It keeps things tidy. But of course, that creates a new puzzle. How do we put all this scattered information back together again? And that, my friends, brings us to the hero of our story, the SQL join. The SQL join is the magic command that lets us weave all that separated data back into a single, unified view. This is literally the relational part of a relational database. It lets us stitch tables together based on a common piece of info, like an ID number. Okay, time to get practical. Let's meet the most common types of joins you're going to use pretty much every day. And to keep it simple, we'll use these two basic tables for our examples. So here are our two sample tables, Table A and Table B. They both just have a list of names. Now pay attention here, because the key thing to notice is that only two names, Pirate and Ninja, show up in both tables. This is going to be important. First up, we've got the absolute workhorse of the SQL world, the inner join. You'll probably use this one more than any other. Think of an inner join like the middle part of a Venn diagram, the intersection. It's only going to give you back the rows where there's a perfect match on the joining column in both tables. And boom, check out the result. Our query asked for an inner join where the names match, and that is exactly what we got. Only the two records that existed in both tables, Pirate and Ninja. Everything else? Gone. Okay, but what if you want to keep all of the records from one table, even if they don't have a match in the other one? Well, that's where the left join comes in. So the left join, and you'll also hear it called a left outer join, it's all about picking a favorite table. It keeps everything from the first table you list, the left one. If it can't find a match in the second, or right table, it doesn't just throw the row away. Nope. It keeps it and just fills the columns from the right table with a null value, which is just a fancy way of saying there's nothing here. And here we go. Take a look. As you can see, all four records from our left table, Table A, are still here. Pirate and Ninja found their matches, great, but Monkey and Spaghetti didn't find a match in Table B, so their columns on the right are just filled with those nulls. This null thing, it's not just a weird side effect. It's actually a feature we can use to do something really cool: find what's missing. This is a classic, super useful SQL trick. It's a simple two-step process. First, you do that standard left join we just saw. Then, you tack on a where clause that tells the database, hey, only show me the rows where the right side came back empty, where it's null. And just like that, you get all the items that are only in Table A. And we can take this same exact logic about finding what doesn't match and apply it to another super powerful, but honestly, often ignored tool: the full outer join. It might not get used a lot, but wow, it has some fantastic tricks up its sleeve. A normal, full outer join gives you, well, everything from both tables, filling in nulls wherever there isn't a match. But here's where the real magic happens. When you add a where clause and filter for nulls on either side, you can instantly find only the records that are unique to each table. It is an incredibly powerful way to see the differences between two sets of data. Okay, this is all really cool, but does the method you choose to find this stuff actually matter for performance? If you're dealing with big data, the answer is, oh yeah, a huge yes. Just take a look at this performance test from SQL Shack. A lot of people might use a not in clause to find non-matching records. And sure, it works, but look at the cost. Over 10,000 logical reads. That's basically how many times the database had to go looking for data. Now compare that to our left join with the isNull filter. It needed only 29. The query wasn't just a little faster, it was monumentally more efficient. So here's the bottom line. Understanding these different join strategies isn't just for showing off.
It has a direct, real-world impact on how well your queries perform. Seriously, a smart join can be the difference between a query that's done in a flash and one that just grinds everything to a halt. All right, let's bring it all home and lock in these key takeaways. So just remember these core ideas. Inner join is for the overlap, for the matches. Outer joins are for including stuff that doesn't match. That left join with a where is null clause, that's your best trick for efficiently finding what's missing. Your full outer join is a secret weapon for comparing datasets. And always, always think about performance. With the power of joins, you're not just pulling data anymore. You're actually equipped to connect the dots and ask much more powerful questions. The real story is out there, just waiting for you to piece it together.